first talk about the similarities and then I'll talk about the dissimilarities. Now, the similarities, the modus operandi seems to be the same. You had young people, you had civil organizations which were involved in the movement in Bangladesh. Similarly, you had a similar Gen Z, whatever you want to call them, Hami Nepal, various other civil organizations which really led the protests against. The script was the same. You attack the houses of politicians, you attack buildings, government buildings, you showcase how politicians are, they are rich, they are better off than you. You show the difference between the poor and the rich. You attack factories. The Bhat Bateni supermarket chain was burned down. The Chaudhry Industries, Chaudhry Group, YY noodles manufacturers, they're the richest people in Nepal. They were attacked. Their houses and their factories were all attacked. The same thing was seen in Bangladesh. The script in that sense is the same. Uh, People who were shot, students who were shot apparently by the police, it was later onwards found out that they were shot by sniper rifles. The caliber of the sniper rifles was different from that which is issued to the police in Bangladesh. Similarly, though I don't know about the caliber as yet, I haven't got information, but from my friends in Nepal, I have been traveling to Nepal quite extensively because of my earlier posting as resident editor, Eastern Region for PTI, and also because I'm involved with a think tank called the Calcutta Research Group. I have a number of friends, and they tell me that they have found from an analysis of those who have been shot that the shots are mostly 70% of them are head, chest, abdomen. Now, when the police fires, they are panic-stricken firing. They can hit you here, they can hit you in the eye, they can hit you anywhere. There is no direction. There is no. They are not aiming to shoot. But this is a aiming to shoot. Someone from somewhere is taking aim and shooting you in the head, in the chest, and the abdomen. Three areas where if you are shot, you will die. So if you're not dead, it's because the sniper somehow missed you in that melee of whatever student protest, whatever is happening. The difference now, I'll come to the difference. The difference is that the students, after managing, the army also played a role in Nepal. The army played a role in Bangladesh. But the difference here is that the army talked to the students, and despite the reservations, made Professor Muhammad Yunus the interim chief advisor, whatever you want to call him. And a government was formed where student leaders were inducted, and you inducted people who were belonged to a certain political party or were affiliated to a certain political party, which was not very popular. The Jamaati Islami has never got more than 6-7% of votes in Bangladesh. But here, all the political parties were kept aside, and instead they chose technocrats or bureaucrats as the first three ministers of a lady who is absolutely trusted and respected in Nepal. She is the first woman chief justice, so it is not someone who has flown in from Paris to become the prime minister, interim prime minister. Symbol of anti-corruption, at the same time someone who is indigenous, who is there in Nepal, who has been there in Nepal all along, and is clean, has there is no charges against her. Whereas Yunus has had a number of cases which he had written off, Grameen Bank, etc. You know, funds which were not here, not there, etc. So this lady has taken three people. One is a former finance secretary, again a very well thought of person, someone who has been in charge of the South Asian, who has worked with the South Asian energy grid, someone again who's a very good, supposedly very good in home affairs. So she has taken three very good persons, and she has said that her cabinet is going to be limited to 15 people, and there is going to be no ostentation. And the second thing which she has done is, she is, on the one hand, she is going to the hospitals, meeting all the students who have been injured. At the same time, she is saying that I am going to check how was the violence, how did the violence erupt. Student, what is the source of the violence? The students are saying that they did not, they did not go and burn the buildings, the Singh Darbar, all these were burned. There were fires, there was rioting, there was looting. So who did that? So she wants to get to the core of that and punish those who were responsible. Nobody has been punished in Bangladesh for the violence which erupted there. Mobocracy is continuing in Bangladesh, but she has put an end to it. The army has seen to it that Nepal is totally peaceful at this current juncture. So that is the difference between what has happened in Nepal and what has happened in Bangladesh. Now, this we hope that this will continue. Of course, she has a very tough task on hand. On one hand, she has to work because no party has been banned in Nepal. Unlike Bangladesh, where Awami League has been banned, BNP has been sidelined, only Jamaat Islami and one more students' party is allowed to function totally and independently. Here, she is not talking about banning anybody. Even the ruling party, the Nepal communists, have not been banned. UML, uh, that the prime Oli was KP Sharma Oli was actually being castigated by Nepalis for being too close to China. He would fly off to China on any pretext, and were all kinds of deals. Border pillars had moved. All kinds of accusations were there. True, false, that we do not know. But the point is, she is not saying that Nepal communists will be banned, nor are the Nepal Congress. They are anyway not in the limelight in there, though they were part of the coalition government. And the Royalist Party has been supporting the students. So they are, anyway, there's no question of banning them. So she has, first of all, this is a difference from Bangladesh. The other thing is, of course, the challenge is she will allow all these guys to be in. So there is this demand that Nepal become another monarchy. Though the king has, I think he has privately told his supporters, unless the parliament wants me, I'm not going to become king. So, though the army is also pro monarchy, I don't think you're going to have a monarchy immediately. The republic will probably continue. But this is one challenge that she has, monarchy or republic. The other is balancing China and India, and also the Western powers who have great interest in Nepal because it's a buffer state between two great Asian powers. So she has to manage all these global contradictions. She has to manage the internal contradiction, royalty, because the idea of monarchy is actually appealing to the rural poor. Young rural poor people are actually appealed by the idea. Though they haven't seen monarchy in act practice, they think monarchy was a great time because their forefathers have told them monarchy was a great time. Everything was fine. Sab Shanti. So that is there in their mind. The Gen Z protesters whom you saw are urban youths. But Nepal is not an urban centric country. Nepal, the population is mostly rural. And those people did not really come into the field so much. There were protests elsewhere, Virat Nagar, etc. All these people, you had protests. But these were again urban centers. Unlike in Bangladesh, where you had protests were much more diffused, there were also rural protests. So there was no rural protest here. And what the rural youth thinks is also important. Yes, of course, the cause of the unrest we all know, high unemployment. In the age group of 18 to 35, the unemployment rate is over 20%. There is no industry, hardly any, very limited industry, very limited investment, despite promises by all kinds of countries and all kinds of investors. There hasn't been much investment in Nepal. The biggest investor is probably India, and that is also paltry sums. And then there is scandal, and after scandal, even there is a scandal over visas. People were going abroad to work, and for that all kinds of money was being extracted, and there are these accusations that money was being passed on to higher ups, etc. So all these actually caused the Gen Z stir. Just as in Bangladesh, the youth stir had genuine reasons for the youth stir. Whether it was taken over later onwards by some Islamists or others, these are questions which we can ask. Similarly, we can ask these questions in Nepal. But the fact is that both the revolts had genuine causes behind it. That is the biggest similarity. I think it's a wake up call. All countries in Asia must realize that they have to look after youth interest. And youth interest basically means giving them jobs, giving them dignity, giving them education, giving them the right to be able to be represented properly.
Thanks a lot.